Greetings, everyone. Welcome. My name is Heather Ashamara, and today we are in the midst of the Warrior Goddess Witchy Challenge. It's day 4 today. And today we're going to be bridging our day 3 and day 4 topics. Day 3 was all about healing, and our topic today is about healing into wholeness. And our day 4 topic is about cycles and creative flow. So how do we heal back into relationship with the cycles, back into relationship with a sense of wholeness in our life? Since there's a few of you that are new, I just want to take a moment to introduce myself. Hi. I am an author, a firewalk instructor, a lover of life, and many, many other things. And one of my favorite joys is to help people get free on the inside, to really learn how to stand in our magic, our power, our creativity, our confidence, and our joy. I've been on a healing journey for the past 35 plus years now, and I have a bit of an unusual background in that I was raised in Southeast Asia, traveled all over the world as a kid, was exposed to a lot of different religions and ways of being and spiritual traditions, and I weave together the best of the traditions and wisdom that I've learned into the teachings that I'll be sharing today. I want to honor my main mentors and teachers, Peggy Dillon, who's my firewalking mentor, who I just got to spend the last week with in Scotland. Also, Anna Forrest is my yoga mentor, and Cara Joan Falling Star, Vicky Noble, and Don Miguel Ruiz, who is my main teacher. The work that I share is from European shamanic tradition, as well as Toltec wisdom, which is based out of South and Central Mexico through the Eagle Nine lineage of Don Miguel Ruiz. I was really blessed to apprentice with Miguel for many decades and to teach and travel with the Ruiz family. So, quick intro. Good. I'm glad, Rachel, that the video was good today. So I love creating challenges because it gives us the opportunity to come together with a central focus and to stay steady with ourselves over 7 days to really live into a topic, live into a quality of being. Warrior Goddess Witchy, whether you have not watched any of the videos or whether you've been watching each of them every day, they're all recorded. There's no right or wrong way to do things, which is very much a part of our community. We're very open to, we all learn in different ways. So please don't beat yourself up if you think you have not done it the right way. Find your way. And really what we're exploring is, what does it mean to be witchy? What is that quality? And part of being witchy, of claiming your magic and your power, your confidence, your creativity, is about healing of self especially, and then knowing that as we heal ourselves, that energy of healing emanates from us and touches everyone around us. So when I'm talking about healing, I'm talking about healing in the broadest sense of from our center, reconnecting with our healing capacity to heal and be in unconditional relationship with ourselves. And to know that as we center into our own light, our unique ray of being in the world, that the vibration of our own healing ripples out. And another way to talk about this is that each of us has 4 aspects of self. And I think it's incredibly helpful for us when we're talking about healing, finding ourselves, getting centered again, coming back home to ourselves, is to create what I think of as separation so that we can clean up the parts and bring them back together. So think about it this way. If you have an engine that's not working properly, you don't just be like, this engine sucks, it's out of here. You know that you want to take the engine apart, clean up the parts, and then bring the parts together, and that helps everything to work effectively. And so this idea of separation is not about this part's better than this part's more important. It's about understanding all of the pieces work together to create wholeness inside of ourselves, and that when we're able to be in relationship with these 4 different areas, it can really support and hasten our own inner healing. But here's the truth. As I shared yesterday, healing is a journey. Being in relationship to coming back home to ourselves, learning not to abandon ourselves, to find out who we really are, to reconnect with our witchy magic is a journey. And it's a journey that is best undertaken, I believe, with a group of people that are on a similar journey and that also know how to support and cheerlead each other. Where there isn't, the outcome is you can be part of this community or you'll be healed when you fit this definition or when you're just like us. But that really we're on a journey, each of us saying to each other, hi, who are you now and who are you becoming? And I want to witness that blossoming and that blooming and that exploration of who you are stepping into, where we're willing to let go of who we've known ourselves to be or known other people to be, where we're willing to suspend our thinking of, I know what this person needs, so we can actually show up and be present and in relationship with each other from our hearts. So wholeness is about coming back into integrity with all of ourselves and understanding it's a journey that we're learning how to hold these 4 aspects of ourselves. So let me share what these aspects are. The first is our mind, healing our mind. And what do you suppose, when you think of this idea of healing your mind, what does that mean? What does the idea of healing your mind mean to you? So go ahead and share in the chat. What would it mean if your mind was healed or you were in the journey of healing your mind? Go ahead and share in the chat. The thoughts like, I'm not good enough, I can't, it's my fault, worry about what. Yeah. My judge, head, mind, in control of every emotion. Yeah, if my mind was healed, my judge wouldn't be mean to me. It'd stop the chatter, wouldn't worry about what others think. Not going into disaster mind all the time. Mentally well, which includes letting go of past trauma and embracing joy. Beautiful L. Yeah, letting go of the judgment, absence of anxiety, perhaps working on our mental health. Healing the limiting old subconscious beliefs and patterns in my template. Beautiful, Elaine, exactly. Stopping the negative self-talk and beliefs, using the mind's strength without getting bogged down by the monkey mind. Yes. Healing limiting beliefs and negative thinking, internal dialogue. Healing mind, having deliberate intention of thoughts and presence with emotional flows. Beautiful. Yeah, eliminate negative self-talk, shifting mindset. Yes. So, okay, are you healed if you never have a negative thought again and you never judge yourself or compare yourself? Is that what it means to be healed? No. Good. Often what we do in our relationship to healing is we decide this is what it would mean to be healed. If I was healed then, and this is what I called linear thinking and linear healing, that we're in a time where what we call the dream of the planet, which is the way most humans are dreaming right now, which is based in fear and scarcity, that this idea of if I just do this and this and this, then I will be healed, then my mind will be okay, then it will all work out, then I'll be a good person. So linear thinking is helpful in some areas of our life, but very few. And so we want to really start to look at where am I in a relationship with my mind where I think there's one path, and if I figure out the path, or if I stop judging myself, or if I become something else, then I'll be healed. And to understand, yes, exactly, everyone is different, and that healing is a path, it's not a destination. That we want to cultivate a healing attitude in relationship to ourselves. And the best way to bring healing to our mind is to learn how to shift from judgment to discernment and victim to vulnerability. So most of the wounding that happens in our mind is from experiences that we've had in our past, and also then what we do with those experiences inside of ourselves. And we often have a lot of negative self-talk and trauma and fear and what I call disaster mind. And that disaster mind, or worst case scenario of using what happened in the past to beat ourselves up, or looking at the future and worrying about what could happen. Like all of that, it's not create a healing environment for our mind or for anything. What it does is it creates more wounding. And this kind of thinking is what we can call conditional thinking. So conditional thinking is, I'll love you if. I know I am a good person, da 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 da. Okay. I'll accept you if. And so there's a condition of our love, of our self-respect, of our self-worth. Okay. Here's the thing. Here's a foundational healing principle, is that you are worthy, you are deserving, you are lovable exactly the way you are. There's nothing you need to do to earn that. As a being incarnated in this time and place, or any time and place, you have rights to be here, to be joyful, to heal in your way. And that what we're learning to do, the wounds that we're learning to heal in our minds, are the wounds of conditions, the wounds where we learned, I'll only be loved if I do good in school, or if I lose weight, or if I'm in a relationship and it looks like this. The places that our mind has decided there's this story of who we're supposed to be, and we're trying to live up to that story. Healing comes when we come back into relationship with ourselves from an unconditional place, which is, I love and support you on your journey to healing, however long it takes. So just feel that for a moment in your own body. What if you could say to yourself every morning, good morning, sweetheart. Hi, I'm with you on this journey. And we're healing all the aspects of ourself as long as it takes. And that I won't abandon or compare or judge. That I won't live my life from a place of constantly feeling victimized. That I will find my connection to the divine, to community, to my own heart. In that way, we're supporting our healing rather than constantly tearing ourselves down and creating more wounds. So one of the fundamental shifts we want to make in relationship with our mind is to learn how to be supportive of ourselves and our own journey, and get the support that we need on our journey. So this isn't about, I have to fix it by myself. A lot of the wounds that we gained in our life came from being in relationship to other people, and they get healed in relationship to other people as well, when you have the right community and the right people around you. So this idea of, healing is a path, not a destination. One of the things I love to look at in relationship with the mind is a really simple shift towards wholeness, which is that shift away from judgment and towards discernment. So the difference is that judgment has a story, it has conditions, it has energy behind it. You should be this way, they should be like this, this shouldn't be happening. And discernment says, that doesn't work for me. I'm going to change this behavior. There isn't an energy or a punishment associated with it. There's just this clarity of, I want to do it differently. Okay, discernment is one of your biggest allies in your healing, in all of our healing. And discernment's also connected to, both of these qualities are connected to being able to witness rather than judge, compare, victimize, criticize, all the things. Okay. The second is being victimized. So there's a quality in our mind that can cause us to create more wounds and not heal when we're constantly seeing ourselves as a victim or feeling victimized by ourselves or the world. And here's the thing is, if you have a judge, you have to have a victim. So there's a part of us that's judging ourselves, and there's a part of ourselves that's feeling victimized by the judge. So much fun. We're so creative. Okay. So, so learning to recognize, to witness, to look and see, where do we feel victimized, and then shift that to vulnerability. I'll give you a really quick example. So day before yesterday, I'm waiting for my flight. I've had my whole thing worked out because I'm teaching this weekend, and I taught last weekend that I'm getting here early back to the United States. I have 2 days to rest. The flight gets delayed for 7 hours until it finally gets canceled 2 nights ago. And Delta's like, wait in line in, behind these 100 people, and then we'll give you vouchers for your hotel and figure out what's next. And I just took a breath and I was like, no, this is not happening. So I got myself a hotel that was walking distance. And I walked into the hotel room and I started crying because I was exhausted. My plan didn't work out. The cry lasted approximately 2 seconds, literally, because I'm so in relationship with that part of me that feels victimized, and I don't feed it. I just let her feel vulnerable. I was like, I actually just feel vulnerable because I'm tired, because it's not working out. And when we're able to be in our mind in that way, where we've cleaned out the emotions and the stories, and I'll talk more about the other aspects of healing, that then our instead of the victim being like, this is not fair, I can't believe they canceled, because I was listening to some guy was like, I can't believe they're making us wait. And I'm thinking, dude, they're making sure the plane can fly, right? People were like, this is just an outrage. And I'm like, mechanical difficulties. What about but you can see where we can feel victimized by, the world is against me, there's nothing ever works correctly, it's not fair. Why? Where we start to spin these stories, and then we feel worse and worse and worse. And then we start pulling in the past, right? I wasn't breastfed when I was a child. That's why I'm not strong enough to withstand the world now. So we have to learn how to lovingly say to that part of us that goes into the victim, sweetheart, come here, I've got you. And that as humans, we're going to be vulnerable. And when we go towards our vulnerability, we can then actually hold ourselves, and their healing happens. Mhm. Yeah, exactly. One thing I need to remind myself sometimes is that no one ever promised that life would be fair or easy. Yeah. Yeah, I started referring myself to a survivor rather than a victim. And that can definitely help, where we're creating a new story and holding a new context so that we have energy for our healing. So this is the second piece in our circle. We have our mental healing, and then we have what I call energetic healing, our energy body. Each of us is much more than our physical body, or our mind. Thank goodness we're more than our mind, right? We're not just little robots with a head. We also are an energetic being. We feel other people's energy, we lose energy, we can be filled with energy. And energy is the invisible realm that permeates your body and also goes beyond your body. And we all have an energetic field that connects with everything around us. When our energetic field is whole, when it's healed and it's whole, there aren't any tears. We're not leaking our energy. We're not trying to grab other people's energy to feel safe. We feel like a beautiful fountain of energy, and that we understand that that energy, sometimes we have a lot, sometimes we have little, and that we're in relationship with our energy body and listening to, what does my energy body need now? Most of us have a tremendous amount of leaks and holes in our energy body. We don't know how to contain it because we haven't been taught. So we're constantly leaking energy. Okay. And yes, exactly. We also can take on other people's energy. Yeah. Thanks, Clementina. I cry. So as we learn to be in relationship with our energy, we start to patch the holes. We start to notice, oh, when this happens, I give my energy to other people. Or in certain situations, I'm taking on other people's energy as if I need to carry it, whether that's emotional or mental. And so healing our energetic body is actually at the foundation of all of the work I do, because I found that when we attend to our energetic body, all the healing goes faster. It's really easy to get stuck in just trying to think our way through healing, and it doesn't work really well. We can have all sorts of concepts around healing, but unless you start to map out what am I doing with my energy and separate it from the stories and start to perceive yourself as an energetic being, it's really easy to get stuck in our head and actually not create healing. As we start to be in relationship with our energy, we start to be able to see, oh, of course I'm not healing, because every time I start to feel good, I blow energy out. I sabotage myself, because many of us do. Many of us have an energetic template that feels safe. Like if I have this much energy, I feel okay. And if I get more energy, then sometimes there's a system, like it's almost like a thermostat that's like, whoa, something's out. It doesn't feel right. And so often what we'll do is end up giving energy away. We'll pick a fight with somebody. We'll start disaster minding. We'll have an emotional reaction to something. And so learning to be in relationship with our energy directly is the path of shamanism. It's the path of really being in relationship with your witchy self, because you learn how to read and manage and hold your own energy and read the flows of energy in life. Because there's larger flows of energy that when we learn to be in relationship with energy, that we can check in and gather and step into these flows that bring us more energy and that also help us to manifest and create. So your relationship with your energy, healing the energy body of the leaks and the places we've squished our energy, the places that we're trying to control our energy, or the places that we're constantly giving it away, huge part of healing into wholeness. The next aspect is our emotional body, our emotions. And emotions are normal. We're all going to have emotions. The goal is not, it's not like this we talked about with healing the mind. The goal is not to have no thoughts. And the goal is not to have no emotions. Like I have reached the pinnacle when I have no more emotional response to anything. That's not where we're going. Okay. We're not robots. We don't want to be robots. We want to be fully feeling, expressive humans. And that means that even as we're healing our emotional body, we're still going to have loss and grief. We're still going to have places of extreme joy. There's going to be this range of our emotional experience and expression. But where the healing comes from is when we learn how to separate our emotional content from our thoughts, from the story that created the emotions. Okay. And your emotional body is incredibly wise. All of us have this incredible intuitive wisdom when we connect just with our emotional body and ask our emotional body, what do you need to heal? Not the mind, different. Many of us are carrying a lot of old emotions from the past. And Peggy and I were just talking about this really beautiful metaphor that we often use in the fire walk, which is that each of us has this pan of oil. And the oil is all the unprocessed emotional gunk. It's the stuff that you didn't know what to do with. It's stuff that also came from your family lineage that you haven't known how to process or didn't even realize was there. And when we start on a healing path, any type of healing path, what we're doing is metaphorically pouring water into the vessel of our being. So you imagine you're pouring water into the vessel of your being, and all this unprocessed, gunky, oily stuff starts to rise because oil and water don't mix. So you bring the water in and you think, I'm going to feel better. I'm on a healing path. And for a while you do. But what also happens, is that the old oil, because You know what, especially when we feel safe and we held in a container, we can clear out the gunk that's not ours, and we can do it quite quickly when we get out of the way. So the water comes in, the oil comes up, and what do we often do in our infinite wisdom? So imagine there's all this gunk that's coming up. What I've noticed is we tend to do two things. Either we go, I don't want to feel all that. I don't know what that is. This doesn't feel like it's working. And we push everything down, and then we try and be nice and fine and everything's okay. And we end up putting a tremendous amount of resistance into resisting the emotions that are wanting to come up to clear. The other thing that I've seen us do as humans is that oil rises and we tell ourselves a story about it. Instead of letting the emotions up and out, we start to cycle. We tell ourselves a story. I shouldn't be having this emotion. I can't believe I have this emotion. The reason I should have this emotion. Here's why. And you can keep an emotion going forever with a story. Here's the key to healing your emotional body. This is huge. It's understanding that your emotions, when they are given space to come up and move without a story, they clear quite quickly. When you let yourself go fully into whatever it is without the story, and this takes work, this is a really big practice to do this, then they clear quite quickly. And what happens is you become more and more present. Your emotional body becomes more and more finely tuned to let you know something's off, because there isn't sludge from the past. Again, from your own experience, or often we are carrying a lot of stuff from our ancestral lines as well, or from other people that we don't realize is ours. So as we continue to pour the water in, because you need to keep pouring the water in, which is unconditional love, support, guidance, all the things that help us with our healing, the old emotions come up and go out. What most of us do, though, is we put a story, and the story is either judge or victim that keeps the emotion going. Okay. So, Viv, great question. How do you detach feelings from the story? It takes practice and it takes tools. So, the short answer to that is starting to witness and watch what's the difference between a thought and an emotion. What does that feel like in my body? So as you start to witness, you have an emotion, and then you're like, oh, I'm thinking as well. Okay. And as you start to witness and watch yourself, yeah, exactly, be the observer, you'll start to see that there is a difference between the thought and the emotion. Mostly, for most of us, they're like this. They're completely tied together. And so much of this work is about detaching and untangling. And the energy that you want to bring, here's the healing attitude that you want to bring about untangling the emotions and the thought is, and the story, we can say, is, think about if you had a child or a dog or yourself where your hair is really, really, really tangled. This also happens with cords. You notice you can take a bunch of cords and throw them in your purse for like 5 seconds and then pull them out and they're all tangled up. Or jewelry, also works with jewelry. So what's the energy of untangling? What do you bring to untangling something if you're actually going to untangle it? What works and what doesn't work? Go ahead and share in the chat. And I'm looking at questions. Great. Okay, Elle and I will talk about the opposite. I love it. Acronym for FINE. Fucked up, insecure, neurotic, and emotional. Mm-hmm. Fully feeling anger, want to be an eagle witch to strike my enemy with lightning strikes and dark cloud raging storm. Okay, let's talk about that too. I love the lightning. Yeah, patience and attention, gentleness, sit with the emotions. Yeah, experience and breathe. Time and patience. Yeah, resistance does not work. Resistance does not work. Okay. Self-nurture. Yeah. So that's the healing attitude of separating in a loving, present way what's an emotion versus what's a story. Mhm. Yeah, and then to talk to your emotional body, exactly. Yeah, what is your message or what's here? So there's all sorts of tools and support around how to be in relationship and heal the emotional body. I'm just giving you nuggets right now because we have a short amount of time. But I want to go back to what Rose and Elle shared, which is people telling us we shouldn't have emotion or places that we've detached from our emotional body. As someone who attached from her emotional body, I have a very strong experience when I was a young woman where I just shut all my emotional content off because I couldn't handle what was happening in my world. Just boom. And it's taken me decades to reconnect, to have emotion again, because I'd so thoroughly shut my emotional content did. And it was about creating a healing relationship with my emotional body and basically being like, hi, sweetheart, I know I shut you down. I'm so sorry. Please come back. Over time, to give myself permission to feel, to invite in, so that I could access the old emotional content, clear it out, and get back to wholeness in relationship with my emotional body. So, for those of you that have done the disconnect, it's about cultivating a new relationship with your emotional body. And it takes time. It's like a wounded animal that you've like punished. That animal's not going to trust you for a long time. And you, what it takes is that same patience and steadiness, which is I'm here, I'm quiet, I'm waiting. And you start to invite the emotional content back so that you can let it heal so that you're fully integrated again. Yeah. And again, most of us, there's a place that in our healing we need to be really mindful of where we can go through a phase where we there is we're repressing our emotional content or we're cycling it and or we've repressed it for a while and we're trying to figure out how to bring it back up again and we start doing things like I have a right to be angry at you. I'm going to be angry as long as I want to be angry. I'm not going to tell you're not allowed to tell me I can't be angry, which is a stage to go through, but not where you want to end up. Okay, because there's story wrapped up in that. We want to be able to actually fully have the emotion, but you don't need to vomit it or dump it on anybody else. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. And we could talk about this for days, literally. This is one of the big things that I've worked on for the last 20 years with myself is being in right relationship with my emotional body. And it's ongoing. It's ongoing. It's not there again, it's a journey that we're all on together. And I'm on that journey with you as well. And there's lots of tools and support around how to heal the emotional body. Okay, so the big one is that gentleness of untangling. This is where we start the emotions from the thoughts. And being able to learn to just be with the emotions as the emotion, as energy moving through you versus the story. And then to look at what the story is. You can look at what the story is later. Okay, that's to be curious about what the story is. Then our final in our circle, the final aspect of self is our physical body, is this form. Most of us, similar to our emotional body, most of us are in relationship to healing our physical body from our mind's point of view, which is not necessarily helpful. Okay? Because often if your mind is still connected to judgment and victimization, then often we don't have we're not able to listen to what our body really needs, to really slow down and say, what does this body need? We have a thought of this shouldn't be happening. It's this thing. It's this person's fault. It's this situation. Like again, our mind gets tangled up in relationship to our physical body, and so slowing down to be in relationship with, hi, physical body. What do you need? What does the physical body need to heal? And again, healing doesn't mean that you're 20 years old and you have no pain. Right? So the idea of if I'm healed physically, then I have no symptoms. I read a book when I was young, and I'm so grateful that I came across this book that was called the 12 stages of healing. And one of the stages, Donald Epstein, and one of the things that he talked about is your healing may lead to your death. Your healing may mean that you are chronically ill. Okay. So again, that we want to disconnect this idea of we're only healed when, and this, insert this image of perfection, and to understand that our bodies are in play and in joy and also in life, and that things happen, and that your body's healing is about how you're listening and being in a relationship to your body, to what your body needs. Okay, it's really different than what we're often taught around healing. And what I've seen is that when we're in direct relationship with our body, we can often heal things from a listening point of view, or we can heal our attitude around things. We drop into what does this body need rather than what I think it should need. Okay, and everything starts to change. But we also need support. We definitely need support. And so much of what we're talking about, this idea of healing, is the biggest question I invite all of us. Great question, Viv. So the biggest question I want to invite all of us to come out of this webinar around healing into wholeness is this question. Hi, sweetheart. What would you in your healing? What support do you need? So that attitude of curiosity, of inquiry, of love, of presence. And that your body may be doing its body thing. And guess what? We're all going to die. Our bodies are going to do all sorts of interesting things on the way to that. And I say this not as a pessimist, but as just a beautiful optimist and like the truth. And if we understand our bodies are going to age, we're going to be navigating all sorts of things. So as Viv said, can I heal, but my cat sense says otherwise? You may not be able to heal whatever's going on in your body back to not having that condition, let's say. You can always heal your soul, your connection to the divine, your connection to your own self-love. That creates the condition for healing into wholeness, which may be you still have whatever condition you're navigating, but you're healed. Again, we're disconnecting this idea. Healed means everything is perfect and fine in the way I think it should be. And instead, what we're healing is all aspects of ourselves and reconnecting ourselves to our witchy, creative joy, regardless of what's happening with our body. Yeah. And is it possible to heal physical things? Of course. But I want to invite all of us to ponder this idea that often the attitude we have around healing is incredibly harmful. I've seen way too many people use this idea of something's wrong with my body, and if I don't fix it, something's wrong with me. I'm not doing it right. I'm getting punished by the universe. I should be able to fix this. And instead, how can we use everything to bring more freedom, more creativity, more joy, more witchiness, regardless of what we're doing? Yes, absolutely, Viv. You can live with the chronic condition and be healed. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's true healing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And our bodies may heal. It may not be exactly like it was before the condition. There's all sorts of variables in this situation. But what I want us to step away from is this idea of there's one point of healing out there. And that's the only healing that's available, especially in relationship to the physical body. And realize all of these work together. Mm-hmm. Yes, thank you, Amy. Yeah. 100%. I was a hospice nurse and saw that soul healing while body was getting closer to death. I love this concept while facing my own chronic illness and chronic pain. Yeah. Yeah. We can use everything against ourselves, or we can use anything to heal ourselves. Anything to heal ourselves. Even the most challenging situations can also be the catalyst for healing. And again, to keep listening to all the aspects of what support do I need in my next step of healing? That's critical. That's why and of course, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to do 45 minutes because I get so excited. Beautiful, Rachel. I think a big part of this for me is a release from fear. Okay, so we're going to open it up for questions, and we're doing another webinar on May 10th, and the challenge continues. So again, for those of you that are just kind of popped in today with Warrior Goddess Witchy, feel free to go back and listen to the back videos and the different teachings. For those of you that are like doing, so thank you that are tagging yourselves and posting. I've been reading everybody's posts and just loving seeing the energy that's going through. So that's a great way to play. And that there's also, we're on day 4 today, so there's 3 more days after today. Then we'll do a kind of a closing webinar. And one of the things that I'm going to be sharing over the next week is about our program Journey of the 9 Moons, which is a 9-month program into healing. There isn't another webinar today at 4 p.m. This is it for today, because I need to go teach elsewhere. But there is another one. Serena, can you put up the one on May 10th for me, for everybody? That would be great. So Journey of the 9 Moons is a program that I've been holding the container for really, it's the oldest program that I've done. I've been teaching it directly for over 22 years. And it's an online-based program that we're also bringing a live component to this year. Yay! Because we can. And there's women that come be part of Journey of the 9 Moons from all over the world. And it's a closed circle where we journey together, learning tools and techniques and support, and learning how to be held in an unconditional way towards our own healing. I think about it as a rebirth thing. And so much of what we do in Journey of the 9 Moons and in the Warrior Goddess work is around learning how to heal our relationship with our mind, our energy, our emotions, and our physical bodies. And we do that very systematically. There's 3 different sections. So one of the things I've seen around healing is that we need to heal our intent. Our intent is our focus, is our capacity to witness. It's our capacity to commit to something and say yes to ourselves. So healing our relationship with our intent, healing our relationship with our inspiration. So to be really filled with creativity and passion and be inspired and be sustainable over time is really important, so that we build our fire up and we're sustaining that fire over time. Rather than doing this in our lives, we learn how to get steady in our healing. And then the last piece is around our intuition, learning how to heal our intuition, which is so often clearing out the noise of the old thoughts, the old trauma, the places that we're caretaking or trying to please everyone or holding other people's emotional or mental content. So we cleaning the vessel of our being so that we're opening to drop in to listening deeply to ourselves and to life. So those 3 places, intent, inspiration, and intuition, are each 3-month deep dives into those qualities and different weekly lessons. The link, there's the Zoom. Yeah, the Zoom link is the same one. Thanks, Serena, for sharing that. And we will be sharing a discount code for Journey of the 9 Moons for everybody that's part of our Warrior Goddess Witchy Challenge. So keep an eye out for that. I just want to let you know that it's coming up, as we're going to be sharing more and more about Journey of the 9 Moons, because I know we all need a container for healing, to feel safe, to feel seen, to feel supported. All right, loves, questions or shares? Questions you have around healing, around separating out mind, energy, emotions, and physical body, and around getting out of this linear it's supposed to look like this. If I do the right things, then I will be loved, happy, and instead come into healing the whole. And it's really about composting. I love compost because compost is we take everything and we make nutrients with the shit, literally. And that is so much about healing. Clementina, thanks for sharing, sweetheart. What do we do when we feel like we can't cope? Here's what I do. Is I'll put both hands on my heart, or I'll put one hand on my heart on one hand on my belly. And I'll just take a couple breaths and say to myself, hi, sweetheart, I'm here. And everybody do this right now. One hand on your heart. It's so simple, but it's life changing. This is one of the most healing things that you can do, that we can do with ourselves when we're struggling, especially, is put your hands on your body. Just take a breath. Hi, sweetheart, I'm here. And just listen. Hi. And just let yourself feel and be present with yourself. And you can say, hi, I see you're scared. I know you're scared. I know it feels overwhelming. I know you're not sure what to do next. I know you're hurting. Just acknowledge with love and patience where you are right now. Good. And then ask yourself, what do you need, sweetie? What support do you need? What do you need, sweetie? What support do you need? And what little action can you take to help yourself? And that might be, I always look at what's the little baby actions. And that's a start. Good. So go ahead and open your eyes and just share in the chat. And then we're going to talk about lightning strikes towards enemies. That's where we're going to close. Where your body or your mind says, what will make me feel better is using all my witchy power to destroy the person that's hurting me. Let's talk about why that's not such a good idea. Okay. Yeah, feels comforting, warm hugs around my shoulders. From that place, then often where we have that feeling sense of we can't cope or where it's too much is because we've abandoned myself. We've disconnected. We're living out here rather than living in relationship with ourselves. And when we just come back and say, next baby step, what's the next baby step? Aw, Amy, wow, just saying that to myself made me cry. Yeah, you're coming back home here. Yeah, this is the part that my mind struggles with, too much trying to listen in. Yeah, and there's, keep using tools to create that separation of like, your mind may have all sorts of attitude about what you're doing or what you're not doing. Can you connect to the body? Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So sometimes when we do this connecting, our mind says either I must smite my enemies and that will make me feel better. If I get revenge, if I use my power to destroy, I will feel better. Is it really going to make you feel better? No, it's not. It may be momentarily. Okay. So we don't want to use our power and our energy to try and destroy or hurt others. And it's also really healthy to express the energy. So when I have places where I'm like, I just want the world to go away. I just want everybody to stop talking. And I want especially that human to stop making me hurt. Like when I have that inside of myself, what I'll do is I'll put a little protective bubble around the entire world. Be like, this is not to go out to the world. I love the world. And then I will rage and I'll give myself permission to feel all the feels and yell and pound on pillows and just feel so that it moves out of my body and gets composted. Instead of holding it in the body or dumping it on somebody else, because I know from experience, dumping anything on anybody else is just going to get dumped back on you in some other form. Mm-hmm. And we want that energy to move out of our body so that we feel centered and whole and like, I don't need to do anything. That's going to get taken care of. That's not my business. So we have the energy to do what we actually need to do to heal. Okay. And then same thing when you check in and you're like, I can't do it. I can't do anymore. What you might want to do is say, okay, well, I'm going to go get my new fuzzy lamb friend. I just got this. It's the best. But you might like go hide in your bed and like, I'm just going to cuddle up and hide in my bed and just breathe for a little bit till I can face the world again. Okay. But you don't want to stay in either of those places. This is why we need community. So people can be like, okay, come out now. And that we can use tools to help us be more resilient, where we can go into things and come back out, where we can resilient. I love this word. The word witch comes from the word willow. The root word is connected to the word willow, Wicca, Wissa. And that willow is flexible. So you can take a hit, you can have a challenge in your life and you bounce back. We want to have in our healing deep roots. So we're deeply rooted into the earth and connected, and flexible beings so that when things arise in our lives, we can be like, yep, okay. And that we're able to come back with our creativity, with our love, with our curiosity, with our joy. And that's what comes out of us naturally. And that's what happens as you clear the oil, is you'll get more rooted and you'll have more capacity instead of coming from hurt, coming from creativity, coming from curiosity, coming from what's needed now. And we also have branches that are wide into the sky. So we're connected to intuition and guidance. So I think our intent is we want to be rooted. We want to have that sense of strong foundation and belonging. We want to be inspired so that when a challenge comes, we're like, yes, I can do this. Or if it's like, I don't know how to do this, we're like, I know where to go to get help. I'm not alone. I've got my people. Okay. Which for me, your people include the trees, the birds, the animal, like all of life, the soil. That's all part of your people, part of your ecosystem. And inspiration, that we're open, intuition, that we're open to guidance, that we're open to that invisible wisdom that is always, always, always around us. So that is healing. Roots, shuk, shuk. Good. Yeah, yeah. So Amy, and for those of you that are navigating a lot of intense overstimulation, it's then what do we need? And there's a way that you can also learn how to bring your energy field in so you're not as impacted by the world around you. It takes time to build a new kind of container for yourself. Yeah. And you're going to get like, this is where the creativity comes in. Okay, I can't yell and scream. What can I do that would help me to regulate my nervous system and my energy? And there's lots of tools and it takes practice. Yeah. All right, we are going to close. Yeah, breathing meditation, walking, swimming, activities that keep our focus to help with anxiety feels good. Beautiful. Yay, Clementina. I love it. All right, really quick, beautiful closing. There is hope, sweetheart, and there's lots of tools. There's lots of ways to help regulate your system. So for those of you that want to know more, I've written 9 books. So there's something for everyone. So Warrior Goddess Training, if you haven't read it, there's a lot of info in there. Awaken Your Inner Fire. Also, Journey of the 9 Moons is coming up. Again, it's a closed circle. It's a group of beings going through a journey together. And we're close today with just a really quick gratitude to each of you. And then also heart on heart on hand, hand on belly or belly on hand. Journey of the 9 Moons starts May 17th. So it's coming up and we'll be emailing more about it. So keep an eye on your email. I'll talk more about it on the 10th as well. Good. Yay. Yeah. Good. Take a breath. And just take a moment to imagine yourself as this beautiful, wise tree. So that your roots are deeply in the ground. Embed your roots, imagine, visualize your roots deeply in the ground. Imagine that the trunk of your body is connected to that willow tree where you're flexible, where you're creative. And that you feel your branches wide to sky, taking in inspiration and guidance from the divine. And pick one word that's a healing word for you. What's a healing quality? It may be compassion, it may be joy, it may be ease. And just bring that feeling sense into your body, into this connection with your witchy tree, rooted, resilient, and receptive. And then just feel that word, that quality. Beautiful. Good. And let's close by, I'm going to unmute everyone and just go ahead and say your word out loud. And before I do that, it's May 11th. Those of you that know me well know you should probably never listen to when I say dates, because that's Serena's. I'm often terrible with dates. So May 11th, Bouncing Back Better. That'll be our closing. I'll be teaching in Sedona this weekend. I'll try and do some live videos from there so you can see. And let's unmute. I'm going to ask everyone to unmute and just share out loud. We're all going to do cacophonous what your word is.
Peaceful.
Peace.
Centered.
Peace.
Fun.
Vibrant.
Power.
Love. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah,
Trust.
Joy.
beautiful. Thanks, sweet ones. All right, May 11th, the details are there. It's the same link as today. And then if you're in our Warrior Goddess training circle, Serena's doing a full moon call tomorrow from Sedona. So, yay. And we'll try and broadcast live from Sedona as well. Much love to everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks, Serena, for hosting. And
Thank
big
you.
love to all of you.
Thank
Blessed
you.
Thank you.
Warrior Goddess Witchy Week. Keep going. Bye.
Bye.